Hey everyone, I'm here with another video. Today I want to talk about episode 23 of Yashahime. But before we start, I would really appreciate if you would subscribe, it would help a lot. Once again, a really well made episode that brings up even more questions than answers, introducing even more problems than how much there was before, and introducing something what we didn't even heard of before. It was amazing and confusing at the same time, but I will try my best to have an answer to everything that happened. The episode starts just as how it ended, with Osamu Kirin talking with Souta, who couldn't quite remember who Kirin was. There's nothing really interesting between their conversation, but at the end of it, Kirin started to talk to them about the comet, that it got closer and that it's been 500 years since it last showed up. More exactly 470 years, which makes much more sense than 500, since it just wouldn't line up with the timeline. There were firearms in Inuyasha and those didn't exist 500 years ago. It only appeared 476 years ago. We don't have a ton of exact dates in Inuyasha, so with this information, it should be much easier to calculate when exactly the events happened in Inuyasha. As Kirin saying this, looking at a straight point, Souta is just looking around, not seeing the comet at all. As Souta confirms, he can't see it. Kirin realizes that a normal person can't see the comet at all. As he said that, we have a clean transition to Kirin-maru, confirming that he and Osamu Kirin is the same person. Not like it wasn't obvious since the start. He says that it does appear in the other era, which I just don't really understand. This whole transition was just really confusing to me. He is at least a few thousand years old, so he should have seen this comet quite a few times before, unless it only started to appear 940 years ago, when Kirin-maru and Toga destroyed it. He says that he can't continue to ignore it, which makes me think what will happen in the future. What will happen with all these demons that lived for thousands of years? The most confusing part of me is why is the comet still there at the same exact location after the transition. This can be the comet from 940 years ago. I don't think he would have cared about it at all at that time. It can be the comet from 470 years ago, since he was in a deep slumber at that time. When Zero woke him up, it was already destroyed, which means that the only comet this could be is at the current time, so this is Kirin-maru in the modern era. It looks like nothing really changed other than he works as a teacher. The only thing that somehow disproves that is that he says it does appear in the other era. If he would be there at that point, he would have said in this era. We know that he wants to twist time, but we didn't get any clue about why after that. It looks like the reason behind it is to save the modern era, and that what we've seen is him succeeding in it and already being in the modern era. Maybe it could be that he twists time by being at two places at the same time, which is the reason why the spirit wanted the girls to slay him. I feel like that sounds the most likely, that he's at two places at the same time. It would also answer why he sleeps most of the time, that he's too exhausted because of it. Whatever time he's in right now, it doesn't really matter. The only thing that we should care about is that he wants to save the modern era from the comet. We know that he can't do it alone, so someone definitely has to help him. I most possibly would see Sesshomaru helping him out, since the spirit said that they are both on the same path. It could mean that Sesshomaru also wants to save the modern era from the comet, and we will have more proof of that later on in the episode. After the opening, we once again see the same scene of Zero talking to the ashes of Toga, which is still just as creepy as it was before. After breaking the seal of Setsuna, he also wants to do something similar to the other girls, so she asks Riku about how Towa can manifest her true powers. Interestingly, as Riku thinks about it, he just sees what Kirin-maru was thinking at that time when he fought the girls, about how Kirin-maru figured out Towa's true powers. Really interesting scene in my opinion, that just went through my head when I first watched the episode. I feel like Riku is just like Osamu Kirin, they are the same, they can see each other's memories and each other's feelings. Maybe Kirin-maru can just connect to himself from different timelines. I tried to look after it in the Chinese mythology, if the Kirin that represents him would say anything like that, but I found something much more interesting about it, that will relate to a scene from the end of the episode and mainly to the last episode's preview. My theory about Riku being a younger version of Kirin-maru still stays, but I would also add to that I think what happened is that Kirin-maru sent his current self to the future, who lives as Osamu Kirin, and tries to figure out how to destroy the comet that messed up the current time and sent Kirin-maru from the past into the feudal era. Continuing with the episode, Riku lied to Zero and said that Towa has no hidden powers, but Zero realized it pretty easily that he's lying. What hidden powers Towa has is something that we don't know yet, but from the opening, we can see some type of transformation of her that will happen in the last episode. Some people say that it will be in a dog form, but I don't think that will happen since she's a half demon. Or possibly, just as for Setsuna, it's a full demon form. Since neither Riku or Kirimaru said it out how to unlock it, we can only guess. I still stand by my theory that her demon energy goes to Rin, and that's why Towa can turn into a full form. Going back to the girls, they are at the Shikabanaya asking Jubei about what that cluster of blood is in Setsuna's arm. Just as we heard before, he says that it's a blood blade. I was right that it's similar to the blades of blood, but it's not the same. It's not an ability that we've seen before, but there are abilities really similar to it. As Mora wakes up, she asks if there is any bounty hunting jobs, and Jubei said that Towa and Setsuna wants to hire her. Weirdly enough, this is something that I got spot on that will happen in the episode. I had no idea why would they do that, and I still don't have any. Hisui and Takechi found the remainings of Tsuchigumo's web, and with that, they can find where Zero is. Kirimaru goes to the castle of Inukimi. It looks like just as 970 years ago, they aren't mad or anything like that at each other. Kirimaru is there cause he's concerned about the fact that Zero is causing her some trouble. She knows what Zero is trying to do and can see why she interfered in the affairs of Sesshomaru's daughters, and Kirimaru agrees with her. A bit sad that she doesn't say her granddaughters, but I can kinda understand why. Just as she says that she doesn't care what happens to the girls, Kirimaru is also concerned about the fact that he's still targeted by them. Not cause they would mean any harm to him, but he's afraid that they won't stop going after him. He is afraid that he simply cannot let them go unharmed. After that, this is that something new that I was talking about in the start, a windmill of time. Kirimaru is asking if it moved at all. She says it has not. She also says that she haven't even seen Akoru these past several years. We don't know who that is, but it's someone related to time. The only one we know related to it is the spirit of the Tree of Ages, but I don't think she is the one they are talking about. It looks like Akoru has some sort of pinwheel that Sesshomaru is looking for, but has some difficulty finding it. As we know, in the Chinese mythology, the pinwheel signifies turning one's luck around. I would assume that he wants to save Rin with it, but it also could be related in some way to Kirimaru, since in the mythology, he symbolizes good luck. Kirimaru says that he thinks that Sesshomaru's true intentions are to take care of his daughters, but Inukimi disagrees with him, saying that it would almost make him seem human. They arrive at the place where Toga died, finding both Zero and Riku quite easily. Zero and Towa starts fighting, and Zero wants to see her hidden powers. At the same time, Setsuna challenges Riku to a fight. Towa got defeated pretty quickly, but Mora just got there to save her. Zero underestimates Mora, who shows off her new move, the Crimson Backlash Wave, which is the ultimate secret move of the Tenseiga. Riku saves Zero in the last second by using the ashes of Toga. Miyaga explains it that it's most probably Toga's demon powers had seeped into the dirt. He also talks about that the Backlash Wave was originally the Tenseiga's technique. They are concerned, and Zero says that at least Riku should get away. Miyaga tries to stop them from fighting at the place where Toga passed away, but Moroha doesn't really care about it. Zero wants Riku to give back the purse to Towa, and it doesn't even seem like she's just joking about it. Riku says that he gathered all the rainbow pearls there, but Zero doesn't have the reaction that Riku expected. Zero is really mad about the fact that he brings back all those pearls to her, so she just takes all of them and combines it. Riku totally misunderstood her cause she never wanted those rainbow pearls back. She didn't just give them out to get it back. She can just call all 7 of them without any effort. As she removes it from Setsuna's eye, the blood blades start to act quite wild. Not sure what that means since the blood blade isn't related to the rainbow pearl at all. As Zero attacks them, Setsuna used the blood blade which killed Zero in an instant, and we can see someone, probably Akoru, running with a spinning pinwheel next to Sesshomaru and Jaken. Not sure what that means and how is that related to Zero. They go after it, but Sesshomaru can sense that something happened to Rin, so she goes inside the tree, while the windmill of time had moved for the first time in years. Kirimaru senses that it moved, while Jaken and Sesshomaru is already there with Rin. As Zero died, Rin wakes up and Sesshomaru knows that Zero is dying, but not completely dead yet. As Zero's body dies, she gets into the underworld where Inukimi can see her. As she realizes that Zero got killed by the daughters of Sesshomaru, she just can't stop laughing and insulting her in every single possible way. Zero is happy at the same time cause she knows that Sesshomaru must be really mad right now, knowing that Rin will die. We can see on Inukimi's face that she already had enough of Zero, who started taking it even further and asks about how did she feel when Izayoi passed through there. Inukimi tries to ignore her, but Zero just doesn't stop talking. Inukimi says that she has no words for her but realizes that this is the last time they can talk, so she asks her about what did she wanted to do. She lies and says that she wanted to protect Kirimaru from humans and half demons. Izayoi just laughs at that. He just slips out that Zero disliked the girls because they inherited the blood of Toga, to what Izayoi called her jealous and say half humanities from her. What Zero didn't quite liked. Sesshomaru couldn't just stay there doing nothing, so he also got there asking Setsuna why didn't she use her own blade. Setsuna is quite confused about it, saying that she cut her with a blood blade. Sesshomaru doesn't explain anything at all, but I think he thought that Totosai already gave the girls the sword that he made out of Sesshomaru's fangs. I would assume that the sword had something that could not just defeat Zero, but also remove the connection between Zero and Rin. Sesshomaru used the Tenseiga to resurrect Zero with its saving Rin. Rin fell back asleep while Jacken is still there with her. Zero can't believe it that he used the Tenseiga to resurrect her, so she used the power of all the 7 rainbow pearls and destroyed it. Finally at the end, Kirimaru also shows up and that's how the episode ends. The girls expect him to possibly attack them and Sesshomaru to save Zero, but it will be quite the opposite. A really good episode. I feel like the better it is, the longer my scripts get. I'm really confused about how this season will end, with this many things yet to get solved. One thing I'm sure we won't see at all in the next episode is that how they will save Inuyasha and Kagome. The chances for a second season is quite high, but they will definitely have some type of ending for this season. I watched the preview of the last episode and it's just really creepy. It definitely hyped me up. But anyway, if you have any questions or you want to discuss something, please leave a comment down below. Tomorrow I will be up with a preview of episode 24, but I will also stream, just like the editing stream of this episode, so tune in if you are interested about how these videos are made. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. See you later. Good night.